Hello everyone and welcome back to Carvenus 14. Now today we are going to be looking at Kuki Shinobu. Now Kuki Shinobu is a character that is basically going to be coming out in the second phase of patch 2.7, which I believe is around June the 21st. So yeah, unfortunately for us Kuki Shinobu wanters, we got to wait a little bit longer because the Yelan wanters get their girl first, and we got to wait for our girl Kuki a little bit longer. So yeah, but such is the life of a 4-star against a 5-star, isn't it? So yeah, anyway guys, today we're going to be talking about Kuki Shinobu, and we're basically going to be talking about why I think that Kuki Shinobu could be one of the best 4-star characters in the game once she comes out. Now, obviously, it depends on team compositions because, you know, Kuki Shinobu may not fit into every single team composition, but I think that she could be a really solid character for, like, a lot of teams. So, yeah. Now, we'll start off with the basics. Number 1. Kuki Shinobu is an Electro unit. Now, yes, Electro right now, in its current state, is in a very, very weak position. Its only real good reaction is Superconduct, and this is why I said earlier that she'll only be good in certain team comps. So, yeah, like, if you have a physical unit, right, that kind of wants Superconduct, then you can use Kuki Shinobu, right? So let's say you have Eula, you've got Cryo there, because Eula's already Cryo, then you just pop Kuki Shinobu on and you're good, really. So why is Kuki Shinobu really good, I say? Well, if you guys didn't know, Kuki Shinobu's elemental skill, right? Her elemental skill is she just straight up heals your characters. Now, why is this so good? Now, if we go back to our Eula team, right? Like, not our Eula team, but let's say we just have a team with Eula, right? Now, Eula, obviously, you want to pair her up with an Electro character in order to decrease enemies' physical resistances, right? Well, the thing is Kuki Shinobu is Electro, so she can fulfill that role. But the even better part is because Kuki Shinobu is also a really decent healer, it also frees up another slot for you to actually use. So you have a Superconductor player, right, with a character that can also heal your party as well. Now this could be this is actually really strong if you think about it. So basically, instead of having, you know, Eula, another Electro character like, let's say, Fischl, and then a healer, you can have Eula, right, and Kuki Shinobu, and you can have 2 extra slots. And then you could probably fit Bennett in with that slot, right? And then maybe another Pyro character to get the attack boost, right? So it's really, really strong, this, right? Because Kuki Shinobu is basically a 2-in-1 kind of character, right? You can effectively free up more space and allow your team to be a bit more customizable. Now, her healing isn't even that bad at all. Like, at level 6... right, which, if you don't know why I'm specifying level 6 is personally what I recommend for people to get up to for a minimum, right? Level 6 really, in my mind, is all you actually need. Most people like to take things to level 8 and go there, but level 6 in my mind is like the best because it doesn't require any weekly boss material, so you don't need to farm weekly bosses in order to get up to here. You just need talent books and like actual open world materials. That's all you need, so it's really easy to actually farm. So yeah, and it's a lot cheaper as well. So, and you still get like a decent amount of actual benefits. So I personally recommend getting all your support characters up to level 6. Really, that's all they need. But yeah, anyway, so the skill damage is not very good. We're not really looking at the skill damage here. We're looking at the actual healing. Now, at level 6, I believe the healing, like, from what I've seen, like, I haven't done these calculations myself, right? But at level 6, the healing should be around, like, 1,900, 2,000-ish, right? And if you get like HP artifacts and stuff, right? So yeah. Now, just to let you guys know, Kuki Shinobu can heal every 1.5 seconds. Now, for comparison, most healers in the game can only heal once every 2 seconds. So Kuki Shinobu is 0.5 seconds faster. Now, in a game like Genshin Impact, that is actually quite a decent amount. It may not seem like a lot, but in a game where there's a lot of fast-paced combat and action going on, yeah, 0.5 seconds can make a huge difference. Now, obviously, the fastest healer is Bennett, who can heal through his ultimate once every, 1 second, right? He's always been the fastest healer, but of course, Bennett can only heal you up to 70%. Now, you can argue that, 70% is all you need, but in endgame content like Spiral Abyss, is 70% really a lot? So, yeah, especially if you don't have a shielder. The fact that Kuki Shinobu can heal you for a decently fast time and all the way up to full, right? If you spec into her well enough, that's really, really strong if you think about it. So, yeah, you can more customizability for your team, superconductor plier, and she's actually a really decent healer as well. In fact, she does actually out-heal some other characters because of how much faster she can actually heal. Obviously, in her kit, she actually does actually increase her healing as well. Like, I believe one of her passives is that what is it, when she's below 50% health, her healing bonus is increased by 15%. So there's that, and of course her ascension stat, you guys can see here, is actually HP. So her kit is tuned to make it so that she can heal your team as well as possible. So it's not as though she can't even heal that well. It's her main role, which is why she's so good. If anything, applying Electro is like her secondary role for her. And the best part is that she can apply Electro really well, because the way that her elemental skill works, guys, is it's effectively like a Chi-Chi kind of ring that she makes. So she makes like a ring of like like electro around her, right? I can't actually remember the name of the actual the good luck the good luck notes that you shake in the ballot box and then you draw out which one. I think it's something like that, right? Yeah, I believe it's something like that Kuki Shinobu actually makes around her, and that ring basically expands once every 1.5 seconds. Now, because that ring is electro, every 1.5 seconds around a certain radius of your character, your active character on the field, everyone within that radius is applied with electro. Yeah, which means she's got a ridiculously good application of electro. Yeah, and if you pair that up with someone that can apply cryo really well, like let's say Ayaka. Well, no, Ayaka's not really the best example here. To be fair, Eula can actually apply Electro quite well, like Cryo quite well, because lower elemental skill cooldown. Even Kaya, to be fair, Kaya can actually apply, Cryo really well. So if you're going physical Kaya or physical Eula, right, then, Kuki Shinobu could actually be a really good character for those comps. So, yeah. Because she can apply Electro really well, she can heal you. So yeah, so far she's a really good character. Now, her skill duration is 12 seconds, right? And her cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, that is about an 80% uptime on her elemental skill, which is really good. But if you wanted to, if you want to go for constellations, you can, because she's a 4-star, so constellations for her is going to be much easier to get. And her second constellation actually increases the duration of her elemental skill by 3 seconds. Now, if you guys are really good at maths, you would know that 12 plus 3 is 15. So 15 second duration, 15 second cooldown, which means as soon as the skill ends, you can reapply it as well. Which effectively means you can have a 100% uptime on Kuki Shinobu's elemental skill if you have a constellation too. Which means you have no gaps in electro application, which is really, really strong, because that just means constant, electro applications, which means other reactions instead of superconduct, like swirl, crystallize, electrocharged, overload. They can all be applied really, really consistently. Now, of course, I know a lot of people don't like to use overload and electrocharge because it's not very good for like actual DPS and stuff, but honestly, I think that she just allows a lot more customizability basically within your own team, which is why she's really, really strong. It's mainly this skill why she is so strong. And let's not forget, she's also the only electro healer going to be in the game. She's the very first electro healer in the actual game. So yeah, that's why she is such a very valuable character for basically any physical team, really. As for her ultimate, I don't really know if it goes well with her kit. I mean, basically what she does is she basically stabs her sword into the ground effectively, and then she she basically creates like an eruption of electro in the ground in front of her. Yeah, and it lasts for only 2 seconds if you're above 50% health, but if you're below 50% health, it's like 3.5 seconds. So honestly, it's not a brilliant elemental skill. It's just, at least, to be fair, the damage does scale with her HP, so at least there's that. At least it doesn't scale with her actual damage, otherwise this would have been completely pointless. But the elemental burst might deal a decent amount of damage, and it is good for applying electro, but the duration is kind of short. It's so short to the point where it's like, it's kind of a little bit underwhelming. Yeah. It has a 15-second cooldown for how short the duration is, which is not really that amazing, to be brutally honest. But on the plus side, it only has a 60 energy cost, so she is very feasible when it comes to energy management. So you don't have to go like a load of energy recharge on her. So yeah. So all in all, guys, I think that Kuki Shinobu could be very, very good for like physical teams mainly, and to be fair, even an electro team, even like a double electro team, if you're going like double electro resonance, she could be really, really strong. So yeah. To be fair, even if you're going a Hydro main DPS like Ayato, right, you could use Kuki Shinobu as an electro healer because she can constantly apply electro, and Ayato can consistently apply like Hydro. So constant electro charge is really, really good for holding them in place. So yeah. Genuinely, Kuki Shinobu has very, very good potential right now. So instead of going for like an electro character as well as a healer, you could just have a 2-in-1 combination and free up another space for like, let's say, a Kazuha swirl reaction or a Zhongli shield bot or something like that. You could just do so much things with her. Yeah. Now, as for her talents, I mean, there's not really much to talk about her talents apart from the first Ascension passive actually being really nice, like when she's below 50%. Now, the reason it's really good, guys, is because if you can get Kuki Shinobu below 50%, it just increases her healing capabilities as well as her damage capabilities. Now, Kuki Shinobu, if you didn't know, actually uses basically she sacrifices 20% of her current health, right, in order to actually create the the good luck charm healing circle around you, basically. So that's why it's actually quite easy to get Kuki Shinobu below 50% health. Yeah. Now, obviously, Kuki Shinobu, if you get her below 50% health, you can obviously get healing and damage reduction, a damage increase and extra healing and stuff like that. But the best part is that she can't actually go below 20% health. Now, why is that so important? Well, the thing is as long as you don't actually get hit, right? If you use this skill when you're at 20% health, you will not lose any health at all. So if anything, right, you kind of just want to use this skill and swap off of Kuki Shinobu as fast as possible, basically, in order to keep her as healthy as possible and only sacrificing her health when her elemental skill is up. So because of that, the entire playstyle for Kuki Shinobu is you want to swap onto her elemental skill and elemental burst, or elemental burst and then elemental skill I think would be better because you don't take as much damage on the field as possible. So yeah, and then swap off her straight away. And you kind of don't want to use Kuki Shinobu's her actual healing circle on her because that would obviously heal her, and you want her to be on low health as much as possible. So yeah. Now, another really good reason as to why Kuki Shinobu is actually going to be quite strong, guys, is because she can use one of the best sets in the entire game, and that set is Tenacity of the Millilith. Now, Tenacity of the Millilith is actually a really strong set. So if we go to Tencent of the Millilith, or Tenacity of the Millilith, as most people like to call it, right, we can see here that the 2-piece bonus, HP is increased by 20%. Now, that's already really good because Kuki Shinobu's healing is based off of her actual, her HP. Now, the really good part of this set is that when an elemental skill hits an opponent, so when Kuki Shinobu's elemental, good luck charm healing circle hits an opponent, which is very easy to do because the radius of the expansion is actually a lot bigger than it would actually seem at first. So yeah, it's really, really good. The actual radius of it, the hitbox of it, so that's why it's going to be really strong on her. So when an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of all nearby party members is increased by 20%. So effectively, when an elemental skill hits an opponent, the current attack of all your party members is increased by 20%. So take 20%. So let's say, right, 2,000, right? 2,000. Your Eula, let's say, has a 2,000 attack stat, right? 20% of that. Well, 10% of 2,000 is 200, right? And then another 10% is another 200. So 200 plus 200, 400. So that's 20%, right? So 2,000 plus another 400 on top of that, right? That will then be your Eula's current attack. So your Eula's attack will go from 2,000 to 2,400, which is actually a sizable increase, right? And it may not seem much, but let's not forget that your attack talent scaling also scales off of your current attack as well, right? So if you have more attack, your attack talent scaling will also be hitting harder based on the percentage value as well. So all in all, it's just complementing your damage playstyle so much more, right? And shield strength is increased by 30%. Now, obviously, Kuki Shinobu can't create a shield, but this is why I said that, you know, this is why I said that Kuki Shinobu is such a good character, because now that Kuki Shinobu is an electro character and a healer, it means you don't need an electro character on your team or another healer. You really don't. Which means the only other type of characters you really probably would need is a shielding unit or a burst, like a burst support unit, like Ningguang, for example, or Beidou, right? Or you could use a shielding unit, right? Like Jinyan, Toma, Zhongli, Noelle. This is such a strong set on her because, number one, it actually works really well with Kuki Shinobu's kit, right? Number two, because Kuki Shinobu allows so much customizability within a team composition, she can effectively free up more space, allowing different types of characters to be in the party. So honestly, the shield strength increase on herself, yeah, it's completely useless. But this is a team buffing set. So it wasn't really originally meant for the actual owner of the set to use, apart from Zhongli, obviously. I mean, this set was made for Zhongli, but other than Zhongli, I don't think there is really any other character that can actually use this. I mean, maybe Toma, but then again, I guess his cooldowns are a bit too long, and Fischl is, well, that's kind of copium. So, yeah, I mean, I did also make a video on Raiden Shogun being able to use this set, but no one really watched that video, so I guess not a lot of people actually know about it. So, yeah. But yeah, guys, I genuinely think that Tenacity of the Millelith might actually be a really strong set. In fact, I genuinely think it might be the best in slot for Kuki Shinobu. I mean, you can go Husk of the Opulent Dreams, or you can go Maiden's Beloved, but I just feel as though Tenacity of the Millelith just provides your entire team with so much value that it's just the best set to go for her. The other two sets kind of boost her own healing, but if Kuki Shinobu's already healing for like 2,000 every 1.5 seconds if you build her correctly, right? Is there really any point to going even higher? Because your DPSs will probably most likely have around 20,000 health, right? So if you're healing for like, you know, 2,000, right, then they should be able to get back to full health or near enough full health within like, you know, 5, 6, 7 seconds basically. So you don't really need the healing bonus increase. Yeah, this effect can be triggered once every 0.5 seconds and can still be triggered even if the character who is using this artifact set is not on the field. So this is perfect. Like, you don't want Kuki Shinobu to be on the field most of the time, right? So it's literally perfect that this artifact set is actually built for Zhongli, because Kuki Shinobu's kit resembles Zhongli's kit kind of really, really well. They're both off-field supports, right? They both are really good at buffing the entire team. So yeah, this kit just works, this artifact set just works really, really well with her. Now, another reason why I think she's a really strong support is because you really don't need to build any damage on her. Because of her kit literally scales off of HP. Right? Oh, not the beta. I mean, the what you need to go to is the character section. Then you scroll down to the case section and you get to Kuki Shinobu right there. So yeah, as I was saying, guys, because her kit actually scales with HP, like her normal attacks obviously don't. Her skill damage here is obviously doesn't scale with HP, but the reason this elemental skill exists is actually for the healing. You don't really care about the attack the damage that it gives you, only the healing. Now, the actual damage that the skill does, yeah, it also scales off of attack, but like I said, the main purpose of this entire kit, this entire skill, is to do healing. So that's all you really need to care about. Yeah, but the best part is that her elemental skill does healing, right? And it scales off of HP. And her elemental burst is mainly a damage tool, right? But the best part about it is that the actual startup, the single instance of damage that it does, as well as the total damage that it does, scales off of her max HP. Now, MiHoYo, it's like MiHoYo really wanted to push the entire HP scaling with Kuki Shinobu, that they made it so that her elemental skill dealt no damage at all, right? But they made her elemental burst deal damage, because the entire purpose of this skill is actually to deal damage, right? But what's the point of making an elemental burst deal damage if the elemental skill is scaling off of HP and you want the person to, you want to build HP on the character? It doesn't make sense to make this scale off of HP. So that's the best part about her kit. Your elemental skill, the important part of it, scales with HP. And the elemental burst, again, the important part of it, scales with HP. So what does this tell us? If she ascends with HP, if her passive grants her more healing on lower health, right? If her elemental skill grants her healing and more healing when she's lower health, and her elemental skill grants her more healing, more healing when she's lower health and healing on, regular high health, what does this mean? You need to just build healing, like as much HP as possible. And that brings me on to my fourth point, right? So that brings me on to my fourth point. She's ridiculously easy to build, right? You don't need crit rate, you don't need crit damage, you don't need attack percent, you don't need energy recharge, right? All you need is HP, and yeah, when I say energy recharge, I will get back to that later, don't worry. But you just need HP. So HP flower, obviously, attack percent, attack feather, but then HP timepiece, HP goblet, and then obviously you could go HP circlet as well, or if you want even more healing, go healing bonus. That's what I'm personally going to be doing. I'm going to go HP percent timepiece, HP percent goblet, and then healing bonus, circlet, just to increase her healing capabilities even more. So yeah, honestly, she's so easy to build, and yeah, the healing bonus artifact is going to be difficult to get, but you could just use that as your off piece, right? Because HP and HP are really easy to come by. You don't need them as off pieces. You really don't. So just stack as much HP on her as possible and then get an off piece healing bonus artifact, and you're good, effectively. She's really easy to build. You just need HP and that's it. So yeah. Now, as for energy recharge, because her burst is actually 60 energy cost, you don't need a ridiculous amount of energy recharge on her. So yeah. Now, unfortunately, there isn't actually a HP, sword in the game. There isn't. The only HP sword in the game is the, the Primordial Jade Winged Cutter, which is like, the 5-star sword that gives you a ridiculous amount of crit rate. Now, its main stat is crit rate. However, its passive is that it grants you 20% increased, HP at refinement rank 1, right? So it grants you extra HP as a passive, which is the exact same as the Staff of Homer. Now, that's really the only source of HP you're getting, but the Primordial Jadewing Spear, it's just so much more worth on like another character like Kaching, Ayato can use it, Ayaka can use it. It's so much more worth on other characters that you shouldn't really be putting it on your Kuki Shinobu, which is why I think it's better if you go like an energy recharge, an energy recharge, sword, like the Festering Desire. Skyrider sword could also be really good, like the 3-star sword. What else? What other energy recharge sword is there? I can't actually think of any other energy recharge sword. Yeah, that's the only ones I can actually think. Oh, Favonia's sword, you could put that on her as well. But if you wanted to make most use out of it, you do need to build crit rate. So that's a bit of an iffy one, really. But yeah. Now, you guys might be thinking, wait, Venus, what about the elemental mastery scaling on her passive? Now, personally, it does look really good, right? Like healing amount will be increased by 75% of elemental mastery. It does sound promising, but honestly, with the amount of HP that you want to be building, right? You're not really going to be building a lot of elemental mastery because she just gets so much more value off of HP, right? Where if you build so much HP, right, and you don't really prioritize elemental mastery, there's not really any point trying to build more elemental mastery on her, because if you build like the Iron Sting on her, right, that gets you, how much does it get you? Like 111, I think, something like that, right? I think like it's like 111. In fact, we can actually go and check. right? So if we head over to weapons, I know I'm jumping around all over the place, guys, but if we go over to the Iron Sting, the reason I'm picking the Iron Sting is because most people will actually have the Iron Sting. Yeah, so the Iron Sting, right, at max level, it gives you 165, right? Now, the part about that is that the Elemental Mastery healing bonus that you're getting is only going to be flat. It's not going to be a percent increase. So 75% of your Elemental Mastery. So let's say this is your only source of actual Elemental Mastery, right? Let's say you just build HP percent Timepiece, HP percent Goblet, and then a healing bonus Circlet, right? Which is what most people will actually do. So basically 75%, right, of 165 is 123 effectively. Yeah, like around 123, like 124-ish, right? So 124 extra HP, like extra healing power. You guys tell me if that's worth putting your Iron Sting on. Because in my mind, it's really not that worth, right? And yeah, there are other Elemental Mastery, what is it, weapons out there, like the 5-star one, which some people will have, like the Freedom Sworn, right? The Freedom Sworn will give you more, I believe, like 210, I think, something like that. No, 198 it would seem, yeah, 198. But again, is it really worth? Like, if 165 Elemental Mastery is 123 in terms of the actual conversion for the healing, right? Is it really worth? Like, a character that's healing you for 2,000, like, ish health, right? Around 2,000, like 1,800-ish health, is 123 or 124 extra healing from the Elemental Mastery bonus that you get from Iron Sting. Is it really going to be worth it in your eyes? For me, personally, I don't think so. In fact, I think it'd just be better if you put an energy recharge sword on her, because that way you'll be able to get her elemental burst up more often, which means even more electro application and even more damage off of her burst. So in my mind, I don't think you should really be prioritizing her, her actual elemental mastery scaling at all. I don't think it's really worth, which is kind of unfortunate because MiHoYo also did this with Yae Miko, and it's kind of just like, why would you? Like, that passive could be used for something else, like, let's say when Kuki Shinobu, like, let's say when there's more than one, like, when there's different elemental types on your actual team, Kuki Shinobu gains like extra healing, like more max HP or extra healing, a bit like Yelan's passive or, you know, Yunjin's passive. That could have been so much more useful, but the elemental mastery scaling is just not that good, and the damage dealt is increased by 25%, right? So again, 25% of what? 165. That's like, well, 123, and then you, that's, I think that should be around 60, 70, I think, ish, like 25% of that. Let me actually just quickly check. So 165 multiplied by 25%, that's, oh no, it's 41. Yeah, 41. Like, I was kind of close. Like, I said 50 as my first one. So, yeah. So, 41. Like, 41 damage dealt increase. I don't know if that's a percent value. I think it's a flat amount. I'm pretty sure it's a flat amount. Yeah. Because if it was a percent value, 41% increase, yeah, I don't think they're going to give that to a 4-star character, because she'd be broken if that was the case. And if that was the case, it would make sense to build Elemental Mastery, but nah, it's just not worth it, guys. There's no point trying to build Elemental Mastery on her. If anything, it's just better to build HP healing bonus, and then the sword just go like energy recharge. It's just so much better. So yeah, that is effectively it for my reasoning as for why Kuki Shinobu is going to be a really good character, guys. Now, it might have been a generic thing for all supports, like maybe some supports that come out can cover more than one area, but Kuki Shinobu is, I do understand that, but again, I feel as though Kuki Shinobu, with her unique kind of kit, right, the fact that she's the first electro healer, it kind of makes sense for me to make a video on this just to get people up to scratch, because I mean, we've never had an electro healer in the game before, so I don't blame you guys for not really knowing how to build around Kuki Shinobu. That's why I really intended to make this video, just to clear the understanding a little bit on how you really want to try and build around her, what kind of team comp she'll be brilliant in. So yeah, just to recap, guys, I know it's a bit of a long video, but just to recap, because I know it was a long video, so I just want to recap everything quickly. So number one, she's electro, right? which means that she's really good in like superconduct teams, electrocharge teams, and stuff like that, right? Number 2, she's a healer, which means if you want to go a superconduct, like a physical carry, right? Instead of going an electro character and a healer as well, you can now just go Kuki Shinobu and free up your space. So even more customizability. Number 3, because her kit allows her to do so, she can use Tenacity of the Millilith, which makes her really, really strong in those physical compositions, as well as those electrocharge compositions, to be honest, right? And because she can actually use the shield strength passive as well because of the increased customizability for team comps, right? Going back to point number 2. So there's that, right? And number 4, the 4th and final point, she's ridiculously easy to build. So she's probably one of the best free-to-play friendly characters you can actually do because number 1, she's 4-star, number 2, you just need to stack HP on her. So that's basically it, guys, for the actual video. Write down in the comments below if you're going to be pulling on Shenhe, on the Shenhe banner, the Kuki Shinobu banner. I definitely will because, well, let's just say I've got some plans for my next team for Shenhe, right? And if you guys are really interested to see what this team I'm talking about is, do subscribe because I will be making a video on that as soon as Kuki Shinobu comes out. Once Kuki Shinobu comes out, I'm going to make a build guide video on her, right? Even though this video was kind of a build guide, I'm going to be making a build guide video on her as soon as she comes out, right? And I'm also going to be making a video on like an updated Shenhe team because I am going to be placing Kuki Shinobu in my team for Shenhe. So yeah, I have been Carvinus14. Write down in the comment section below if you guys are going to be pulling for Kuki Shinobu and what you think of Kuki Shinobu as a character overall, like what you like about her design, her lore, her personality, like what do you guys think about her, basically? But until then, I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.